Hi and welcome on my channel. So in this video we're gonna talk about the anatomy of the brain and functions. So I had already talked about the anatomy of the brain from lateral view in the previous videos, and now we're gonna see the anatomy from sagittal view. In other words, we're gonna look at the internal structures of the brain. Here we are looking now at the sagittal view of the brain. So even though I had already talked about the different lobes of the cerebral cortex, I will talk again about it quickly just for remind. Here we have the central sulcus, which separate the frontal lobe from the parietal lobe. And just interior to this central sulcus we have the precentral gyrus. It is mass of nervous tissue important for initiation motor movements. This gyrus make part of the frontal lobe. In the other side and posterior to central sulcus we have the postcentral gyrus, and it is important for processing sensory information. This postcentral gyrus make part of the parietal lobe. And of course here we have the occipital lobe. But what is important in this diagram are those internal structures. So starting by this part which called thalamus. So the thalamus is a relay station or relay center integrating sensory input and channeling it to the different sensory areas of the cerebrum. And then we have here this structure which called the corpus callosum, and it's a thick bundle of nerves fibers linking hemispheres of cerebrum. And just here below we have the hypothalamus, and it is a major control center of the autonomic nervous system that can control temperature and water homeostasis, also controlling the release of hormones by the pituitary gland. And here we have the temporal lobe. So in this part of the brain we have the midbrain. This midbrain connects the cerebrum and cerebellum, pons and medulla that we're gonna see it later. Also, the midbrain can help coordinate some visual and auditory reflex. So here we have the pons, which conducts signals between cerebrum and cerebellum and sends sensory message to thalamus. And just below we have the medulla. This structure conducts motor signals from cerebrum to spinal cords and sensory signals from spinal cords to all other parts of the brain. So this part contains regions which controls cardiovascular and respiratory systems, as well as reflex like coughing and sneezing. So all those three structures, the midbrain and pons and the medulla, makes part of the brainstem. So and finally we have here the cerebellum that I have already talked about it in the previous video. So that is all, and thank you for watching.